I'm a decision maker in a company, and we've had on-prem for quite some time now. We have decided that we should look into migrating our data infrastructure to the cloud. I'm afraid, though, that it's going to cost too much. How do I do it in a cost conscious or cost conscientious way?
So, one of the first things I hear from a lot of customers when they talk about migrating to use a cloud solution like Databricks is usually actually not even cost. It's like security. It's, hey, I used to have control over all this. It was in my building, it was locked down. And I think that's an important point because that comes up so often. Databricks has invested a lot there. In the recent past, we now have a lot of big banks using us who have very high regulatory restrictions and security policies in place that we've been able to onboard to Databricks. And as part of doing that, we've built features that are beneficial to everyone. We also have a number of government entities who similarly have a lot of restrictions, or healthcare where there's HIPAA and PII. And so we've come a long way in all the things we've done to have compliance standards met, to have additional ways you can do security linking to your data. So I think that's actually the first thing that tends to come up when people think about going to cloud is that. And then that second thing is the cost piece. And there's various ways to think about it. Some people have pitched the cloud as the cloud is cheaper than doing on-prem. And I don't think that's actually true in every case. In some cases, it can because there's efficiencies. But the real benefit of moving to the cloud tends to be the flexibility and scalability and the speed of getting updates to things. When you're on-prem, you bought a machine and you own that machine for however many years and you have to install things on it. And, the next version might not be compatible. So your pace of evolution slows down. And so, the big driver to the cloud, it tends to be to speed and scalability. You can launch something, and if your capacity suddenly triples, but it's only temporarily, you don't need to go triple your hardware and hold on to it for 7 years or something. You can have a spike that you deal with. And then there's that cost factor, which comes in. And so cost is obviously a thing. Businesses think about ROI. What am I investing to do this task? What am I getting back from this task? I think it's important to always understand what you're trying to achieve and what the value is. And that's that first step of the thing. If you are worried about costs and you have no idea what you want to spend, you're not going to spend what you want because you don't have that idea. You can't spend the correct amount. And so as you're migrating workloads, figuring out what is this workload? How much does it cost today? What is the value it brings in? Or if it's a new workload, something you're launching on the cloud for the first time, how do we quantify the benefit? You obviously then need to figure out the cost of that workload. So if that's the only thing you're running in the cloud, it's real easy because it's your total cloud bill. But for most people, they have many things running in the cloud. So you need to isolate those costs by either putting them in a separate workspace or account or tagging them so you can see the costs. And then this is where it comes into the controls, is I always recommend people put the controls in place that they can based on that spend. If you have a workload that, because of the nature of it, you really want to stop at a certain point, you can do that by putting a max cluster size and limiting where it scales, putting timeouts in place, and that thing will eventually hit its limits, and it won't cost more than that. If you have a workload that's critical to your business and your business is very unpredictable and spiky, you might not want to do that. You might want to be aware of when things are going up, but not shut them down. Such as if you were, an e-commerce application and all of a sudden you're going to have a lot of press come in. You don't want your thing crashing because one part of the e-commerce website that's powered through your data platform has double the volume that it usually does, and so it shuts down. And so I think it's identifying those workloads, identifying the value, the nature of it, and then setting things up appropriately for that, whether it's capped capacity and things that are going to queue or fail, or whether it's more flexibility and you just sort of want a soft alert when things start scaling so that you can be aware of it.